Understand that your reaction is your choice. There are many times in life when we feel angry, frustrated, or stressed when others say or do something that we don't like. However, it's important to remember that what others say or do doesn't control how we feel. In fact, it's how we interpret and react to those situations that determines how we feel. Imagine a situation where someone criticizes you in front of everyone. It can be a painful experience, but can you decide how you feel about it? Absolutely. Don't let negative emotions take over, but instead, see it as an opportunity to control how you react. When faced with a stressful situation, we have a choice between two paths: react impulsively or stay calm. When you choose to stay calm, you are not only protecting yourself, but you are also creating space for clear thinking, which helps you act thoughtfully and effectively. Whereas, if you react hastily, you may say something you later regret or act on your emotions, which not only does not help resolve the situation but can actually make things worse. To do this, you need to be proactive and conscious in each moment. The simplest way to start is to stop for a moment when you feel your emotions rising. Don't let your natural reaction overwhelm your awareness. Stop, take a deep breath, and identify your emotions. You can ask yourself, what am I feeling in this moment? Is this feeling reasonable? Can I see the situation from a different perspective? Once you have identified your emotions, the next step is to proactively choose your response. You can decide not to react immediately but wait a little while to think more clearly. You can also choose to speak gently and respectfully, instead of pushing things further with heated words. One thing to remember is that you cannot control the actions of others, but you can absolutely control your own reaction. This is the real power that each of us possesses. Sometimes, being calm and wise in your reaction not only helps you maintain your mental health but also helps you build better relationships with the people around you. So practice the habit of stopping and thinking before you act. Remember that each of your reactions is your own choice, and that choice will determine your attitude and the quality of your life. Stop expecting others to behave like you. In life, we often fall into the trap of expecting others to behave the same way we do. We want others to understand, empathize with, and react in ways that we think are right. However, the reality is that everyone has their own standards and experiences that influence how they think, act, and react to situations in life. Expecting others to behave the same way as you will only lead to unnecessary disappointment and hurt. Each individual is a unique entity with different life experiences. What you consider natural, reasonable, or important may not be meaningful to someone else. For example, you may value absolute honesty in a relationship, while your partner may value maintaining your image or being tactful in communication. These differences can make you feel misunderstood, even betrayed, when others do not act the way you expect. However, the truth is that we cannot force others to behave the way we do, because they have the right to make decisions based on their own standards and life experiences. Expecting others to always understand you and act the way you want only creates pressure and frustration. You will feel tired when faced with unrealistic expectations, and this can lead to tension in relationships. Sometimes, it is necessary to give others the space to behave the way they do, because they have the right to choose their own way of living and behaving. Instead of trying to change others, you need to learn to accept them as they are, with their own strengths and weaknesses. The most important thing is to focus on yourself. You cannot control other people's actions, but you can absolutely control how you react to them. When you understand and accept that everyone has a different way of perceiving and behaving, you will feel more relieved. You no longer feel frustrated or angry when others don't act the way you want them to. Instead, you become more patient and learn to approach situations calmly and rationally. An important part of acceptance is not imposing your ideas on others. You can share your opinions, but you shouldn't expect others to agree or act the way you expect them to. Mutual respect is important in all relationships. When you accept differences and don't expect others to behave the same way, you build stronger, healthier relationships. Learning to accept others as they are doesn't mean you have to accept all wrongdoing. You can still stand by your own values and set boundaries when necessary. However, it's important not to expect others to think, act, or react exactly the same way you do. This way, you create a free space for both yourself and the other person, making the relationship more open, easy, and less stressful. So try to let go of unrealistic expectations and focus on controlling your own reactions. Learn to accept and respect each other's differences, because that is the key to building a happy life and strong relationships. Letting go of the need to always be right. In everyday conversations and arguments, we often feel the need to prove ourselves right. The need to win every argument often stems from an inner insecurity, where we worry about our self-worth if we can't prove our point. However, when we focus too much on always winning and asserting that we are right, it not only causes unnecessary fatigue but also creates tension and distance in relationships. When you engage in an argument, is your goal to resolve the issue rationally and effectively, or is it simply to win and prove that you are always right? If it is the latter, this can lead to a never-ending series of arguments with no real outcome. The constant focus on winning can cause you to miss out on opportunities to learn and understand others. It is also easy to ignore different feelings and perspectives, which creates fatigue and stress for both parties. When you try to prove yourself right, you not only make the conversation tense, but you also make yourself tired and uncomfortable. Being stubborn and insisting that you are right can cause you to lose connection with the people around you. Sometimes, the need to win and assert yourself is not worth the trade-off of harmony and good relationships. Instead of focusing on winning, you can try changing your approach, prioritizing peace and understanding in every conversation. A more positive approach is to focus on understanding the other person and finding solutions that can satisfy all parties, instead of just trying to assert yourself. Remember that proving yourself right does not always bring long-term benefits. Sometimes, silence and listening can yield much better results. Understanding the other person, whether they are wrong or not, will help you build a relationship based on respect and empathy, instead of unnecessary fighting. It is important to learn to choose when to engage in an argument and when to retreat. It is not always necessary to engage in every argument, especially when the issue is not really important or cannot be resolved reasonably. Sometimes, keeping quiet and letting the argument go can help you save energy and maintain a good relationship with the other person. You can choose to give in and stop tactfully so as not to continue to escalate the situation. By letting go of the need to always win and instead focusing on peace and understanding, you will not only make your life more pleasant, but also build more harmonious relationships. Don't worry too much about being right in every situation. Calmness, understanding, and the ability to choose when to engage in debate will help you feel more at ease and achieve true harmony in every conversation. Stop letting other people's words define your worth. Each of us has our own unique worth, and that worth should never depend on what other people think or say about us. In fact, your worth is something that comes from within, not from the compliments or criticisms of others. However, in life, it is easy for us to let other people's opinions influence how we see ourselves. We may feel happy when receiving compliments, but deeply hurt when we hear criticism. This leads to a change in how we evaluate ourselves and our true worth. Your worth cannot be measured by what other people say. One of the important things is to clearly distinguish between facts and personal opinions. Everyone has their own opinions, and what they say may not always reflect the truth about you. Someone may compliment you on something, but that doesn't mean you have to depend on that compliment to feel confident. On the other hand, if someone criticizes you, you shouldn't let that criticism destroy your self-confidence and self-worth. One thing to remember is that other people's words are sometimes just a reflection of their personal opinions, not the truth. Just because someone disagrees with you or has an opposing view, doesn't mean you don't have value. These opinions are often subjective and shouldn't be allowed to affect your psychology and how you see yourself. Remember that your assessment of yourself is the most important thing. This doesn't mean you should ignore all opinions from others. You can still listen to and learn from constructive feedback. However, you need to be able to filter out unnecessary negative feedback and not let it affect you. Unfounded criticism or negative opinions that have no real value may simply be a reflection of ignorance or jealousy from others. These opinions will only make you feel tired, anxious, and doubtful about yourself. Learn to protect your emotions and do not let external factors destroy your confidence. Affirm your worth through your own actions, achievements, and maturity. When you understand your true worth, you will not be easily shaken by outside words. You will become more stable and able to maintain peace of mind, regardless of criticism or praise from those around you. Finally, remember that your worth does not depend on the opinions of others. You are the only one who can determine your true worth. Live with confidence and self-respect, firmly assert yourself, and do not let the words of others define you. Protect your energy by setting boundaries. In life, we often feel pressured to meet the needs of others, from work, family, friends to social relationships. However, if you do not know how to set boundaries, you can easily be dominated by others and lose precious time and energy for yourself. Boundaries are not only a way to protect personal space, but are also necessary to maintain emotional and mental peace. One of the common mistakes many people make is always saying yes to every request and expectation from others. We may feel responsible or worried about disappointing others. However, if you constantly say yes to every request, it can mean that you are denying yourself. You will no longer have time to take care of yourself, do the things you really want, and over time you will feel exhausted and disoriented. This is where setting boundaries becomes extremely important. Setting boundaries is a way for you to maintain respect for yourself. When you learn to say no firmly and clearly, you not only protect your own mental health, but you also help others understand that you have your own needs and limits. This doesn't mean you're selfish, but rather that you're learning to hold yourself in a healthy space, which can lead to stronger, more positive relationships. When communicating your boundaries, it's best to use I statements to express yourself without attacking or hurting the other person. For example, instead of saying, "Please stop bothering me," you can say, "I need some time to do something and I'll be back later." This helps you clearly express your needs without creating unnecessary tension. Using I statements helps keep the conversation constructive and respectful. It's important to stick to the boundaries you set. Don't let gullibility or the desire to please others sway you. When you stick to them, you show respect for yourself and help others understand that you can't do everything. Boundaries are a way to help you maintain balance in your life and make sure you have enough time and energy for the things that are important to you. Boundaries not only help you protect your personal energy, but they also help you build healthy, lasting relationships. When you set clear boundaries, others will respect you more and understand that you have needs. And when you stick to those boundaries, you'll feel freer, less stressed, and more able to live your life to the fullest. Remember that setting boundaries isn't easy, but it's the best way to protect yourself and create a healthy life. Learn to say no when necessary, and don't forget that protecting your energy is an important part of self-care. Detaching from the opinions of others. In life, we often seek approval and validation from others. Whether it is in our work, relationships, or even our personal interests, we sometimes feel that the opinions of others can validate our worth. However, relying on external approval is an unsustainable path. This approval can change, and when you rely too much on it, you can easily lose your emotional stability and self-confidence. It is important to understand that other people's opinions reflect their views, not your true worth. Everyone has a different perspective and evaluation of life, and their comments or evaluations may simply be a reflection of their personal experiences, perspectives, and emotions. When you focus too much on these opinions, you can lose sight of who you are and what you truly want. The truth is, your worth cannot be measured by what others think or say about you. Instead of chasing other people's approval, you should focus on your own values and goals. You need to clearly define what is important to you, and build a life around what you believe is right. When you have a clear purpose and a strong belief in yourself, the opinions of others will no longer have such a strong impact on you. You will no longer feel anxious or disappointed when you do not receive recognition from others, because you have confidence in the path you are on. It is important that you learn to eliminate unhelpful opinions, negative comments, and criticism that do not add value. These opinions can make you feel insecure and disoriented, but if you learn to filter them out and not let them control you, you will feel lighter. Remember that not all opinions are valid, and not everyone is understanding enough to make accurate judgments about you. By detaching yourself from outside opinions, you will develop mental and emotional independence. You will no longer seek approval from others to feel worthy, but instead, you will find satisfaction from within yourself. When you understand your own worth and goals, negative opinions will be insignificant words, unable to affect your life and confidence. Finally, remember that you are the only one who can determine your true worth. Always stay true to your goals and the path you have chosen, and do not let the opinions of others take away your focus and belief in yourself. When you learn to detach yourself from outside opinions, you will be freer, happier, and live your life to the fullest. Respond with silence, not anger. In life, we cannot always control situations or the actions of others. Sometimes we are provoked by the words or actions of others, and anger can quickly rise. However, in such moments, instead of immediately reacting with anger, choosing silence can be a powerful tool to help you avoid escalating negativity and maintain your composure. Silence is not weakness or indifference, but a way to preserve your own peace. When you do not respond immediately to provocation, you deprive others of the opportunity they are looking for to make you angry or upset. People who are trying to provoke you are often looking for a response from you, and silence will frustrate them. When you don't let them control your emotions, you stay in control of the situation, protect your peace, and avoid getting caught up in pointless arguments. Responding with silence also helps you maintain emotional control and avoid saying or doing things you may regret later. When angry, we tend to say things we don't really mean, which can hurt others or cause unforeseen consequences. Silence is a way for you to have time to think and assess the situation calmly before deciding to act. This is a way to show maturity and the ability to control your emotions. In stressful situations, sometimes it is not necessary to defend or explain everything. Listening silently can help you better understand the other person's point of view without feeling the need to immediately refute. Only when you feel it is necessary, speak up calmly and in moderation. Being silent in difficult situations does not mean that you accept provocation, but it is a way for you to demonstrate self-control and the ability to control the situation. Pause before reacting, take time to think and feel your emotions. Being silent in such moments not only helps you stay away from anger but also helps you protect your inner peace, not letting others affect your emotions and thoughts. When you know how to choose silence instead of exploding your emotions, you will feel freer and not get caught up in unnecessary struggles. Finally, silence is a powerful way to protect yourself and stay calm in any situation. Remember that you do not always need to react immediately. Sometimes, silence is the best answer, helping you stay calm and be able to face all challenges in life firmly. Practice gratitude to calm anger. When we feel angry, negative emotions can make our minds and bodies tense, making things feel cloudy and difficult to control. However, one effective way to calm anger is to practice gratitude. Gratitude and anger cannot coexist, and focusing on things you are grateful for can help shift your attention from the negative to the positive. When we are angry, we often focus on things that are not right, situations that we feel are unfair or hurt. However, instead of dwelling on those negative emotions, you can proactively change your approach. By practicing gratitude, you can calm your angry feelings. When you focus on the things you are truly grateful for, whether it is something small like a beautiful morning or the people you love, your attention will no longer be focused on the negative, but instead, you will find joy and peace in the simple things. Gratitude can be a powerful tool to help you quickly change your mood. When you take time to reflect on the things you are grateful for, you will realize that life is full of beautiful moments, good people, and opportunities that you have had. This helps you realize that despite the challenges, you still have a lot to be grateful for. Reflecting on these things can help reduce feelings of anger and replace them with peace and contentment. Making gratitude a daily habit is a great way to maintain a positive mood. A simple way to practice gratitude is to keep a gratitude journal. Every day you can write down the things you feel grateful for, whether it is a word of encouragement from a friend, a good deed that day, or simply waking up to a new day. Writing these things down not only helps you focus on the positive things, but also helps you build a habit of looking at life in a more optimistic way. Practicing gratitude also helps you look at life's challenges differently. Difficulties and challenges can make you feel tired and angry, but when you are grateful for the lessons they bring, you will realize that each challenge is an opportunity to grow. Instead of letting anger cloud your mind, gratitude helps you look at life in a lighter and more positive way. Ultimately, gratitude is not just a fleeting emotion, but a habit that can change the way you respond to the world around you. When you focus on the things you are grateful for, anger will no longer dominate your mind. Start practicing gratitude every day and you will feel a shift in your emotions and mood, a calming of anger and inner peace. Reevaluating criticism as a tool for growth. Criticism is inevitable in life. No matter who you are or what you do, there will always be times when you are faced with judgment and comments from others. However, instead of viewing criticism as a negative thing, you can learn to view it as a powerful tool for growth and self-improvement. If received properly, criticism can provide valuable insights and opportunities for self-improvement. One of the most important steps when receiving criticism is to filter the comments. Not all criticism is valid or accurate, and not everyone gives feedback with the intention of helping you grow. Therefore, it is important to evaluate the source of the criticism and think about the critic's intentions. If the criticism comes from someone with experience or knowledge, and their intention is to help you become better, then it is valuable feedback that you can learn from. However, if the criticism comes from jealousy, ignorance, or other ulterior motives, you can choose to ignore it. Once you have analyzed the source of the criticism, the next step is to look for the lessons in it. A criticism can be more than just a comment on your actions or results, but also an opportunity for you to recognize areas where you can improve. Sometimes we can be blind to our own weaknesses, and criticism from others can help us become more aware of these limitations. If you can look at criticism with an open mind and a desire to improve, you will see it as an opportunity to grow and improve. Instead of letting criticism make you feel hurt or insecure, see it as a stepping stone to self-improvement. Every criticism, no matter how mild or harsh, can help you realize your strengths and weaknesses. It is an opportunity for you to learn and improve yourself, especially in areas that you may not have paid much attention to. You don't have to accept every criticism as absolute truth, but you can always find value in it if you know how to receive and learn from it. When you learn to see criticism as a tool for growth, you will no longer feel afraid or self-conscious when criticized. Instead, you will feel stronger and more confident because you know that you always have room to improve and improve. Criticism is not the end, but part of the process of growing and improving yourself. When you open yourself up to criticism, you open the door to new opportunities that will help you become a better version of yourself. Finally, remember that criticism is a natural part of life. Instead of avoiding or resisting it, learn to accept it and use it as a tool for improvement. When you do this, you will not only become a stronger person, but also become smarter and more mature in how you deal with life's challenges. Master the art of letting go. Holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness not only makes you feel tired, but it also harms you more than it harms others. When you let these negative emotions take over, you not only add to your stress, but also make your mind and body feel heavy and uncomfortable. Anger does not solve problems, it only takes you further away from peace and clarity of thought. Letting go is a way to release the emotional burden you are carrying. When you let go of negative emotions, you will feel lighter and more able to focus on what is important in the present. This does not mean that you forget or ignore what happened, but that you choose not to let negative emotions affect your life. Letting go helps you regain calm and freedom of mind. The practice of letting go begins with acknowledging and accepting your own emotions. Don't deny negative emotions but acknowledge them objectively. Then look back at the situation and proactively choose how to respond. Instead of letting your emotions take over, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And is there a way for me to move forward in a calm and positive way? Mastering the art of letting go will not only help you heal your emotional wounds, but also create a space in your soul to live fully in the present, without being haunted by the past.